Welcome to BLT on Rye with your hosts, B,
Benny,
L, it's Luke, and T,
Trixie.
Our new host who has replaced Tori.
Thank
Trixie
God, I
now.
hated her.
Yeah. One of our listeners called in and said, "Hi, my name's Trixie, so I think I could replace Tori."
And
Next
they
week,
said yes.
Next week, Lucas will be replacing me, and Billy will be replacing Benny, and
it'll be a much better show.
It'll be a pure upgrade, straight upside.
Wait, Luke, is your full name not Lucas?
No, it is not.
It's not Lucifer?
No.
Lukalele?
No, I haven't heard that one before.
I've absolutely called you Lukalele.
Maybe I tuned it out because it's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. But
It's a ukulele play on the name Luke.
Yeah, that's why.
Lukalele.
I like how you thought he just didn't get it.
Yeah, like, oh, that must be it. Clearly, this is too humorous to.
Lukalele.
So this week
I just wrote a
we're
whole
talking
For
about
you. You're welcome.
a show, a game, and an album. I've got the album Stranger Fruit by Zeal and Ardor.
I chose the pilot of the television show Succession.
And I made them play a dating sim.
Which
Called I Love
dating
You,
sim?
Colonel Sanders.
There
A
we
finger-licking good dating sim. It's free on Steam.
I've played a dating simulator before, but never this one.
I had never heard of a dating simulator before these texts were sent.
That's the thing. Out of all of the people here who would play a dating simulator, Benny's definitely the furthest down on the list, but I'd have figured you'd have heard of one.
You gotta remember, I'm not that into video games.
True. And not anime. It shows up enough in anime. There's always, occasionally there's a character that's like, oh, this is my girlfriend, and pulls up his, PSP because the anime was made in 2009.
I love PSP.
Who goes first?
I believe I'm last, and I went second.
I think it's you, Benjamin.
Is it me?
I don't know. We don't keep a super strict order.
Nothing
I
matters.
think it
Everything
is,
is a social
because
construct.
I think, what did I do last time?
The album. And I keep blasting I Really Like You. Still
Yeah.
listen to that song.
Okay,
Oh.
so
Real quick, before we get into that, I actually talked to my friend last night. I was telling you guys, talking to all the people in the bachelor party. Friend Steve, who goes to Roboto a lot, and he's like, oh, I mentioned it to him. I'm like, do you know the short fictions? And he's like, oh, yeah, I see them all the time. I opened for their album release, so I'm like, oh, cool.
what band is he in?
He just does poetry. He does spoken word stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if you know. I don't want to. I want to say I don't want to just throw his name out there, but I think he just goes by his name for the spoken poetry. So it's Steve Lynn.
Okay, I was at their album release show, but I did show up late, so I
okay.
don't know if I saw him.
Yeah, but he does good stuff. He did one of the best man speeches for the wedding. Or, well, we didn't have a best man, we just had groomsmen. He did a speech, and we were trying to figure out the order as we were going up to the microphone. And he was like, who do you want to go first? I'm like, you go first, whatever. And he started talking, and it was just so poetic and so flowery. And I'm like, oh shit, whoops, I should have gone first. Hard, tough act to follow. Anyway.
Was yours all jokes?
Oh, it was all jokes.
Okay, my speech at your guys' weddings will be all jokes.
That's fair. You don't get a speech.
What?
I'm not gonna get married.
Why don't I get a speech? I absolutely get a speech.
I'll consider it.
I'll drunk do a speech. I'll fucking tap on a glass. Stand up on a table.
The middle of the father-daughter dance, and you're just like, ding, 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 ding.
I have an announcement.
Here are some jokes I wrote.
Please do. Anyway.
I will.
So I chose the HBO show Succession. I believe it premiered
2018?
2 years ago. It has 2 seasons currently out. It was created by Jesse Armstrong, who's British, and did, what was it called? Peep Show in England.
I'm vaguely aware of it.
I got nothing.
It is sort of your basic retelling of King Lear, where there's an empire and 3 heirs, and you watch the 3 heirs battle it out. Tori, did you not get that? Your mouth kind of dropped.
I didn't get it was a King Lear. I was getting it was like Schitt's Creek if it was a drama.
I mean,
it's a comedy.
Everything is everything's Shakespeare.
That's true. You know what my favorite retelling of Shakespeare is? It's
The Lion King?
10 Things I Hate About You?
No, it's the Amanda Bynes film.
Oh,
She's the Man.
yeah. I was gonna say She's All That, but that's a different movie.
Which is... I'll think of the Shakespeare show. All I can think of is Comedy of Errors, because that's the one I'm in right now. It's...
Name drop.
Yes, I'm playing Dromio of Syracuse, don't worry about it.
Yes, that means something to me.
God, Olivia. Oh God, it was the Shakespeare in the Parks did a musical.
None of us are gonna pull it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it.
Either you're gonna pull it, or it's not happening.
You're on your own here.
Well,
I'll shout down to the BLT on Rye fact-finding crew and see if they know.
You know, it's really nice the way that you've been keeping them employed during this.
Yeah. Well,
they are essential workers, the BLT fact-finding crew.
I did have to take a pay cut from my massive
Look, it's
salary
tough times.
To keep the fact-finding crew on, but they're still down there somewhere.
But in my opinion, I would say Succession is the funniest show on television. I laugh out loud every week. I enjoy it so much.
Is it supposed to be a comedy?
It's not supposed to be like a straight-up comedy, but it's definitely supposed to be comedic.
Because I don't...
Twelfth night.
She got the poll! She did it! Yeah!
It was Olivia, Duke Orsino.
I don't know if she got the poll or if she's sitting in front of her laptop.
We're on a Zoom call, so I'm only watching my face.
My favorite Shakespeare adaptation is the Dungeons & Dragons adventure Storm King's Thunder, which is also King Lear. Kind of.
Oh, I'm about to DM my first game. Maybe that's the one we'll do.
Ooh, fun. I'll say there were a couple of things in this pilot episode that I thought were humorous, but a lot of it was just like brutal. I just could not watch some of the stuff, like
him vomiting out of the eye holes.
Oh
I was done. Benny, I was done. I was like, what the actual?
No. Anytime he was on screen or spoke,
Greg the egg.
Greg is just like, ugh.
I love Greg.
Him explaining like, oh, I picked up a hitchhiker and now
God.
He lit up. You know what a doobie looks like. He lit up. I was like, oh no. I think the worst was at the baseball game.
Oh, when
check.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's me when it really takes like a turn where you're like, oh, these people are monsters.
Yeah, I think like before that I was like, oh, this guy's kind of a dick, but like, hey, at least he's, he hired the guy to burn sage in the room and then told him to fuck off. Like, yeah, okay, he's got a sense of... No, ripped up $1 million check in front of a child. No.
The only joke I liked in it was when the ex-wife was like, yeah, I'm just looking for a guy that, like, I don't find cocaine smeared on the back of the kids' iPads.
Yeah.
I was like, ah ha ha. And that was the only thing that I almost laughed at. I don't even think I laughed. I think I just kind of lightly breathed out of my nose a little bit more. Not even like a full, like, exhale. It was just like,
You didn't laugh when Tom is the, like, he's not their brother-in-law yet, but he's dating Shiv.
The sourdough?
No, that is Connor, the oldest.
Who is the actor that... All I can think of him from is the birthday party, and he pulled the sourdough out of the bag. Who is that actor? I've seen him before.
The oldest sibling? Like, he's kind of older, got, like, a beard.
No, I'm just gonna look up
I don't know his real name, but it could be Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
No.
What were you saying, Benny? What did Tom do that was...
When he's talking to Greg, and he's like, "Would you kiss me?"
Oh my god, that... Like, after the first time it was funny, and then the second time I'm like, okay, this is getting awkward. And then I was like, the would you kiss me? And I'm like, this is really funny, but I am so uncomfortable. Like, if this was a person in real life.
So, what I love about the character of Tom is he's, like, kind of on the outside. He grew up in, like, Wisconsin or something, and now just gets to be, like, this rich guy. And he just delights in it so much.
Like, everyone else is just kind of used to it. And they're like, oh, a helicopter ride to go play softball. And he's like, I have all this power, and I'm going to use it to fuck with people.
Okay, I figured it out. I was thinking of Peter Friedman, and I know him from Law & Order. He plays... Let me go back to the Google thing. Francis.
Okay, yeah, Frank. The guy who he fires at the end.
Yes.
Oh.
And he tells him, you are what you do. You're just what you do.
Yeah. I mean, he fired the guy that gave his, like, I've been this man's best friend for 30 years speech because he wanted his kids on the board. And then immediately the kids are like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work for us. There's not enough value in it. Like, holy moly. Is anyone in this show supposed to be, like, someone that we root for?
At best, Greg.
Is Greg the main guy?
No, that's Kendall.
Okay.
Kendall he's a very tragic figure because you kind of get to know that he can't communicate his feelings. I don't know if you picked up on the way he speaks.
Yeah.
He kind of talks funny. And you learn that that's an extension of his inability to kind of communicate. Like, he just wants his dad to love him. And he can never say, like, what you're doing is wrong. Like, that scene between them in, like, the dining room where he kind of, like, is angry and balls his fists.
Yeah.
And his dad, like, gets it, and Logan gets in his face and says, like, are you going to hit me? Are you going to cry?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have the words to say, like, you can't do this.
So Greg was played by Nicholas Braun, who was in Perks of Wallflower, but more importantly, was in Sky High.
Oh, yeah, he was in Sky High.
Okay.
So
we've got some real talent of a generation coming in here. The class of Sky High was
God, what a
peak
good
Hollywood.
movie. What a good movie.
I think it's definitely an underrated movie. Like, it's an underrated kids classic.
I assume that's what influenced Hero Academy.
My Hero Academia?
Yeah.
I love that
Well, we should make Benny watch that.
Why do you guys...
Make you watch it. We should do one of the episodes. We should, like, everyone teams up. Like, me and Tori pick something for Benny to watch and listen to. Me and Benny pick something for Tori to watch. And
Good
you
night,
two
Tori.
pick something for me.
I like every option but the one where you two team up.
Or do an episode where we just try and make everyone, like, hate each other and, like, pick the worst thing. Oh, no, wait a minute. We did that this week. Thanks, Tori.
I love you, Colonel Sanders. That's my background on my laptop right now. It's one of those photos.
Jesus.
It's just the main title screen. It's just him looking good.
So, everyone in Secession is kind of a bastard.
Yeah, there's often been... I've seen a couple... I don't know whether to call them think pieces or articles, but about should we be watching this show and rooting for these people who are kind of a stand-in for the Murdoch family. Like, not exactly, but, like, they own a news company, they're rich.
Yeah.
They're kind of...
It's hard not to draw those parallels.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because it does really give them a lot of humanity. Like, you really come to understand why they are so broken. Like, why Kendall is the way he is. Why Shiv is a sociopath. Why, like, Roman is so, like, the way he is.
I imagine it all boils down to the dad was kind of a prick and spent his whole life building a media industry and he wasn't there for the kids.
Yeah.
I called the dad getting sick. I called it early on. I was like, bye, Dad.
Well, you know, he does
recover.
He does recover. Also, the first scene is him waking up in the middle of the night and peeing on the floor.
Yeah, but...
Oh, is that what was going on? I just heard a bunch of groans. I didn't know he peed on the floor.
Yeah, he was pissing on the floor because he didn't know where he was. They had just moved to a new apartment, and he's old as hell. And it was just like, where am I? Oh, I'm in the bathroom, and peed on the floor. In his defense,
you peed on the floor?
Who hasn't woken up and just like, oh, I'm in the bathroom, and was actually peeing on in the sock drawer in their parents' room?
I have never.
Never.
Yeah, no, I've never actually done that.
Yeah, sure, Luke. All right, whatever you say.
But another theme of Succession to go along with that is kind of how nature, like, society kind of can't punish them for what they do, but nature can. Like, their own bodies, like, you can be as rich as you want, but you're still gonna get old.
Yeah.
And things are still gonna go, and they're like, you can't buy your way out of that. And anytime they have to interact with nature, it's just very brutal towards them.
Yeah, I imagine that's the only way that, like, is equaled out for them, because, like, you can have all the money in the world to throw at healthcare and you still get a brain aneurysm, like...
By the way, the best place to have a brain aneurysm? Probably in a helicopter.
Yeah. If not the hospital, then a helicopter moving towards one. Is it okay for me to root for the tech guy? Because it felt like they were like, oh, you know, we're big money newspaper media, we're going to take over this tech website. And then the tech website's like, hey, welcome to the 21st century. You're dead now. You're ours.
You can. He's not around that often. He's like sporadic appearances from him.
I loved his like whenever the acquisition went through and it's like, without Daddy around, you just invited me into the chicken coop and I'm gonna eat every fucking one of you. Like, oh, that was so cold.
They are all very cold towards each other.
And especially because Kendall was like, you know, was trying to be nice at first and then lost out, went and talked to his dad. His dad's like, sometimes it's a big dick competition. And then he went back and he's like, oh, I'm gonna swing my big dick around. And then just got absolutely destroyed. Oh, poetic justice.
I love when they have the meeting in the hallway and the guy's like, do you want to call your dad? And he's like, no, do you want to call your fucking dad?
Yeah.
And then right away his dad
Sorry, nobody wants to call their dad.
And I'm like, oh, sorry. Hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad. Yeah, it's going good.
Yeah, well, everything's fine. I'd have been like, I mean, my dad doesn't run a media corporation. He wouldn't have any good input here. Maybe yours does. So, everyone's awful. God, Greg is so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Greg the egg.
And, like, there was a part where that betrayed a bit of intelligence, like, in the car ride to the helicopters, which remind me, I want to go back to the baseball game at some point, where he's like, oh, you know, like, my grandfather still owns a place on the board, I could see where that would create some conflicts, perhaps to alleviate that. Like, he was speaking like he took a business course at community college.
Well, what's interesting about Greg's story is it's kind of, will he become one of them or will he remain
a simple idiot?
Well, he's much smarter than he lets on. There's several times throughout the show where he's a lot of times just a pawn in their game, but he can he makes moves for himself at times that show like, no, he's got some strategy to him. He's not as like advanced as them, but he's at least learning.
Yeah. I liked the baseball game because it felt like, what's the granddad's name?
Logan.
It felt like Logan was like, we're still a family that does normal stuff. We are normal people. And it's very much not, because even though it's a family get together and like, oh, it's our tradition, we go and play baseball. No one wanted to do it. They only did it because he said that's what we're doing. Yeah. And they took helicopters out to a field to do it. And one of their sons paid the pinch hitter $1 million to hit a home run. Like, it felt like there's somewhere deep down in him that he still would be okay being a normal person. Or he just wants that. He wants to feel normal. But he's just so far removed from it that even his idea of this is what normal people do is just bonkers.
I also think part of it is he loves to watch them compete against each other. Like, he loves playing them off. Like, he asked each of them, what do you want? And they all say the top job. So he's trying to bring all of them in so they're all competing for it.
So I imagine he just doesn't care about the oldest son?
Not really. He's from a different marriage than the other three. And he's like a little more out there. He's kind of laid back, but he's also kind of just... Everyone can see that he doesn't have like that killer instinct in him.
Yeah. And I think that's why I'm thinking that the dad doesn't like much care about him. Because if he wants the kids to compete, the oldest son is like, I'll do whatever those guys do. I am water, I flow. It seems like he's well aware of his dad's shenanigans and just like, I'm just not going to participate. Like, you're not going to get a rise out of me.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's true.
Well, then I root for him. I like him the best. Even if his only scenes thus far have been, I'll do whatever.
But it's definitely a great show. I think you guys should check out the rest of it. It's the funniest show. It's also the darkest show.
It sounds like it. It sounds...
Oh, it's so dark.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit through it, but I kind of do want to. Although all of my TV show watching has been stopped for The Wire. I've got...
As it should be. As everything in your life should.
I've got 3 more seasons to go through, and we'll get there eventually. Well, 2.9 seasons. I've started 3.
Oh, nice. We'll have to talk about that later.
All right, now. Fuck it. This podcast is a Wire podcast now.
No!
What's... so, Luke, you're last this week, so are we on to Tori?
Yeah.
Okay. So I made you play the free Steam game. I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating sim. Fun fact, it was created by KFC.
Yes.
They hired coders, and we're like, what if Colonel Sanders was just fucking sexy, and you wanted to bone him? The professor is a dog, a corgi named Sprinkles.
You know, they didn't mention that at all, so I was very subtle.
What? The professor was a dog?
Yes.
Yeah, they're super subtle about that. I also want to make a note. You do not want to bone Colonel Sanders. There is an option where you can like try and get with him, and he's like, whoa, that's not what this game is about, and you fail, and you have to go back to the last checkpoint. You are not allowed to bone Colonel Sanders.
Okay, well, I made a love connection with Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders doesn't love you.
That's
I'm
not
sorry.
true.
That is expressly...
I have half his heart.
All right. Yeah.
Told me.
So, Betty, you have never heard of dating simulators prior to this,
I
correct?
have not. The closest I would say that I've come to them is that game Persona 5.
Oh, okay. You played Persona?
I played maybe an hour and a half of it, and to my understanding, that is nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a pretty long game. So, I mean, that's kind of like the outside of the combat stuff. It's kind of what you do. So the genre in particular is visual novels, and then dating simulators are a majority of them. But I imagine there's like other ones.
It was kind of a choose your own adventure book.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. Yeah, you just sit there and read through the dialogue, click through the options. Although I don't think there were a lot of chooses you get to make for this. There is a lot of right answers and wrong answers, and you just play through the story.
Yeah, there were times where even you had one choice, and I was like, well, why am I even being prompted right now?
Yeah.
Like, when you first meet Colonel Sanders, it's like, Colonel Sanders is behind you, turn around. And, like, that was it. And I was like, well, why, like...
I feel like part of that's because just trying to get you, like, make you feel like you're doing the thing. Like, you don't have any agency, but you still are feeling like you're doing things. But, Tori, you say a fun fact that it was produced by KFC. No. It was produced by KFC. That is not a fun fact. It was a sad fact. Because we both played... I played through. Benny watched through. Because,
my computer wasn't good enough to handle the graphics.
Oh, wait, so did you watch Luke play?
No.
Oh.
I watched a playthrough on YouTube.
Oh, who did you watch?
Let me find his name.
Was it the Game Grumps? And we're the Game Grumps.
No, this guy
They do
didn't
it.
talk at all.
They get
He never
sponsored.
introduced himself. His name is AJ Brun. AJBRUN. He did not speak. He just clicked through the menus.
Okay. So, Benny watched through, and I played through a 1-hour KFC advertisement.
That is correct.
Because that's all this was.
Did it make you want KFC?
No.
I don't really eat KFC.
It very much didn't.
So then you just had fun.
Well,
Fun is a
in
word.
theory.
I will give credit where credit is due. It played very much on all of the tropes of visual novels and dating sims and anime shit, where it's just like these goofy, over-the-top things that are very lamp-shaded. Well, in this one, it's lamp-shaded. In, like, anime and stuff, it's just kind of like, it's goofy, it's wacky, that's just how it is. But, like the dog professor. They're like, yes, the professor's a dog. We know that. Give him a bone. He's a good boy. He's a very good boy.
He's a very good boy. He is the best boy.
What was weird was it seemed like it wanted me to keep finding that funny. Like, funny the first time, but then, like, it keeps saying, like, he's a dog, you know. And I'm like, yeah, like, you told me.
But what if you forgot?
I don't think they had a lot of material to work with, so, you know, they had to... Their big numbers, they had to reuse a couple times.
Luke, my 3 big questions for you about your choices were, what did you do with the spork monster? Did you kill it or did you let it go?
I killed it.
Really? How did that change things for you?
I don't know.
Okay,
I
did you
didn't
tell...
play through it multiple times.
In the version I watched, he was let go.
Yes, I also let him go. And then he he can save your life once. But then if you go, like, so what happened is I had to, like, stop playing because I had class. And so I, like, shut down, and then I just couldn't figure out where I was supposed to be back at. And so I went back in, and he meets you out later and is like, I wanted to be a famous chef too. I used to be a student at this school. Sorry that I attacked you. What did you do about your best friend? Well, did Colonel Sanders tell you one of his secret ingredients?
Yes, he did.
Did you tell your best friend?
I did.
I lied.
I also lied.
I lied the first time, and then I screwed up one of the other choices, so I had to go back before that, and I was like, I'll tell the truth.
How did that change it?
I don't know.
Well, what happened?
I didn't go down one of the paths, so I don't know what the options, like what the result of that was.
From what I saw, if you lie, it never comes up again.
Yeah.
And I don't think telling the truth came up again. Like, maybe, I think at one point I mentioned it to Colonel Sanders, like, oh, I'm sorry, and he's like, it's okay. The deliciousness is for everyone. Come on down to KFC, we got the $5 fill-up bowl.
But that's not accurate. He does not. They're a secret for a reason. He kept them a secret.
Oh, that's true.
He would not say, "This is fine that you told."
How many secret ingredients are you supposed to find? I think I found like 4.
I found 1.
Yeah, I only had 1.
If you go clicking whenever you go to his house, if you go clicking around on all of the things in his house. One of them has the secret ingredients, and then he tells another one later. Also, killing the spork monster, it came back during your climactic cook-off with Ashley and Von Don
Van the Man.
Van the Man, who I loved his character design. Very JoJo's, very good.
I'm doing JoJo poses in my living room with the windows open so my neighbors can see me.
Benny, for your information, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is an anime, and they do a lot of posing in it. And it's very
lost.
It's very over the top and intentionally so.
Okay,
I've never seen it. That was just a Griffin McElroy approximate.
Everyone in the show is absolutely shredded. They're just all like super buff. Yeah.
One thing I was thinking as I was playing or watching this being played, was Colonel Sanders was a man.
Yeah, he was like
a human man who lived and died.
This is, oh my god. This is like Fate Grand Stay, Fate Stay Night, whatever that series is. Do you know that series, story?
No.
It's another anime series where all of the characters are characters from history that are like were important figures. Like I want to say Alexander the Great is the main character, but it's a lady. And they'll just have like, oh, Jack the Ripper's here, but it's a little girl. And they're like, oh, they made anime character versions of history. This is weird. Colonel Sanders was a real dude, and now we've got anime Colonel Sanders.
Well, I'm only in love with one of them.
But why are you in love? He did not have an interesting personality.
He was just handsome and loved cooking.
The real winner of my heart was the robot.
I like the robot.
I wanted to date the robot.
Now, did you set the robot up with the best friend?
No, I set her up with the little boy.
I set her up with the robot.
Did she say that she liked him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I set him up. That's the same thing that happened with Pop.
Because his real name's Bob.
Bob, and it's upside down.
Ghost Student was pretty good. I like that reoccurring bit. That one I was okay with. Where, if you look out the window when you're at Colonel Sanders' house, he's there and he's like, to avenge my death, you must... And you're like, no, I was just checking out the window. And he's like, oh, I thought you were like looking for my mournful spirit. Like, nope, just here hanging out with Colonel. Okay, well, if you could just go ahead and, like, nope, sorry, bye.
Oh, they don't even name him, they just call him Student.
Yeah. Certain parts were funny. Certain parts amused me. But on the whole, it felt like I was playing through a KFC ad.
Yeah, it felt like advertisement.
That's
Which
fair.
it was.
But it was free, and I think we all had a good time and grew as people.
Most ads
and
are
as friends.
free. I don't know if you know that. Most ads, they want you to have.
Yeah. I'll give them to you.
I do like that canonically, Colonel Sanders always arrives on a horse, surrounded by a wave of cherry blossoms.
I also like that canonically he is, like, reincarnated. Because he had pictures of himself in his home as an elderly man. Either that or he time travels. Unsure. And those photos in his home were of the Colonel Sanders we're used to in U.S. advertising. Which is not particularly a handsome man, but just like a southern gentleman.
I'd still call him a handsome man. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat KFC, but
The one thing
I do like mashed potatoes.
that really, like, ripped me from the idea of this is a game and back to this is an ad was the super awesome, delicious food you make is a chicken mac and cheese bowl. And that's the only thing I've eaten from KFC in probably 3 or 4 years, and I only ate it once, and it was so greasy I was nearly ill. I just spent the whole day like, I don't want this anymore. And then whenever it was like, oh, we made the super secret meal, this thing that nearly killed you, I'm like, oh, I don't, this isn't good anymore.
Fair. But I think, it's free right now on Steam, so if you got nothing much to do,
Rest assured, no one has anything to do right now. Lockdown!
It did really slow my computer down. It took a lot of power to run that little game.
I think that's astounding, because the visual novel has to be like one of the least difficult things to run. But I mean, Betty, you can run Tabletop Simulator if we knock it down a peg, and it wouldn't work on yours, so...
Yeah.
Watch, not only is it an ad, they're mining Bitcoin while they run it on your computer.
I don't own any Bitcoin.
No, I mean, they're using the game to mine Bitcoin, is what I'm saying.
How would that work? There are no mines.
Like while the game is running, it also has a background process that mines Bitcoin.
Where does it mine it from?
It just does calculations.
If you do calculations for Bitcoin, you get Bitcoin.
What do you mean?
That's how mining Bitcoin works. I don't even know enough to super get into it, but the best approximation I've heard is, imagine if leaving your car on solved Sudoku puzzles and you could sell those Sudoku puzzles for heroin on the black market. That's Bitcoin.
I don't understand Bitcoin.
I don't think anyone does.
I don't understand any sort of technology.
If someone starts explaining blockchain to you, just tune it out, because they don't know and you don't know and no one knows.
Somebody's gotta know.
What the fuck is blockchain?
That's how Bitcoin works.
It's the technology behind Bitcoin that's supposed to
revolutionize.
It verifies
computers.
that you can't fake Bitcoin because blockchain.
Oh. And how does it work?
Like I said, if I start explaining, you
Damn, I was
ignore me.
really hoping you were gonna start trying to explain.
The best explanation I've heard is, imagine we're all having a meeting and one person's writing down everything that's being said. They could easily alter it, the record of it, right?
Right.
But if we all are writing it down and we all match, then it's much more likely that is what was said. And that's how blockchain works?
Yeah. There's technology behind it and numbers and math and stuff, I'm sure.
I did go ahead and tune out.
Good. You've listened. You've listened to the important part.
You were the one who asked for the explanation.
It was a text.
Yeah, to be fair, literally before the explanation, I told her to ignore any explanation, so.
To be fair...
Yeah.
All right, so that's I love you, Colonel Sanders, and I do love you, Colonel Sanders.
Now, do you love the man? Like, the man who lived and died and had hopes and dreams and, like,
I love the
probably
idea.
a family?
My favorite story about him was after, like, the franchise spread and stuff, he would go into random KFCs, and if the food wasn't, like, he'd order there, and if the food wasn't good enough, he'd, like, throw a fit there at the store, like, "You're ruining my work, my dreams." I don't know how accurate that is, but I've read it on the internet, so it must be true.
Luke, I'm so sorry. My audio is going to be just me moving around a lot because I have my laptop on my knees, but then my leg cramps.
I spend a lot of my time muting your audio, not because you're speaking. I leave all the speaking parts in.
Sure you do.
But just every so often there will be... For a while, it, like, picked up me and Benny, so there was, like, this weird reverb, and I was like, what the hell is that? And then I realized it was your mic picking up stuff.
I just have very powerful...
microphones.
Yes.
Or me and Benny project incredibly well.
Well, we're classically trained.
Yeah.
We're classically trained podcasters.
Mm-hmm. I saw something today that was, the pandemic's bad because Amazon has sold out of podcasting mics.
I saw that too.
And I was like, man, I'm using a webcam. People are, like, putting money into this. Oh, no.
I'm using my laptop.
So anyway, that was Colonel Sanders. We love you, Colonel Sanders.
Hell yeah, we do. Pour one out for Colonel Sanders.
Last one of the week. Zeal and Ardor, Stranger Fruit. So this album was, like, my favorite album of 2018. And the band is relatively new. This is their first full-length album. They also had an EP a year or two before that called Devil Is Fine. And I think they're an American group. I gotta do some clicking. Swiss American. Okay, I knew he was not exactly from America. And the main idea is that it mixes the sounds of African American spirituals and black metal.
I did not get that first one from it.
That's a lot more prevalent on their EP, but a lot of the lyrical content and stuff is like... I'm trying to think of, like, what songs would emphasize it best, but, like, Don't You Dare was... I'm trying to think. I'm going to have to cut out a lot of this, probably, because this is me hemming and hawing. Don't You Dare.
Don't I dare what?
I'm looking at the...
I do dare! I do dare!
Don't you dare look away, boy. Don't you dare look away now. I don't know, just a lot of, like, subtle stuff, like, I don't know, the way he says boy. Like, you know the... Like, that is generally a,
Yeah.
demeaning thing, like, calling a
Yes.
African-American person boy. Like, part of this is the perspective of, like, I guess it would be like a slave master being, like, this oppressive, like, hellish situation, like...
I got on Instagram, and I was opening Spotify because I saved 6 of the songs, and then I got an Instagram notification, so I opened up Instagram, and somebody had sent me a very funny thing, and I happened to giggle right as you said slave owners, and so I'm just so worried.
Like, oh, no.
People are gonna be like, oh, she thinks slave owners are so funny, and no, it was just somebody sent me this thing that was like, I'll just read it.
I was also very confused in that moment because you said slave owners and Tori covered her mouth.
Oh
my God!
What have I listened to?
Now I'll never find it. It was the genie And for your third wish, me slamming down the fork of my second cheesecake. Take a wild fucking guess, buddy.
So this group started because the lead singer, oh Lord, what is his name? Manuel Gagnou. He's a Swiss American man. Was posting on 4chan. He was like, I want to do a project. I want to combine two weird things. What kind of genres should I fuse? And someone suggested black metal. And of course, it being 4chan, someone said N-word music. And he was like, from the interview, if I recall, he was like about to type out this big, like, fuck you, man, you piece of shit. And then he was like, well, what would be a bigger screw you if I combined black metal and, like, slave spirituals and made a band and, like, put out albums and was successful? Like, I feel like that'd be the bigger fuck you. So that's what I'm going to do. And the question of what if slaves, instead of embracing, like, the Catholicism that was fed to them, embrace Satan?
That's a very interesting question.
Well, this is the answer. Kind of.
I'm going to preface everything I'm about to say with I really did like this. Okay. And I will probably listen to it again. This guy's voice, to me, sounded a lot like the guy from Imagine Dragons' voice.
I got Iron and Wine vibes.
Ooh, okay.
So that's what I was thinking you were going to say combines, like, kind of... I don't even know what to call that genre of Iron and Wine and Imagine Dragons, a genre they don't share, but...
What? The idea that between the two of them is shared, like,
kind of like, let's say indie rock. Let's say, I was like, oh, this is kind of like indie rock meets black metal.
There were several of them where I really liked the intro, and I was like, yes, I love this beat, like, this is so cool, and then the middle was just screaming, and I was like, what do I do with this information?
Yeah, I really like this song. What was it called?
I've got 6 that I saved. Do you want to try to guess them?
I want to guess Row Row.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that song.
It's a great song.
I liked The Fool, but I don't think there were any vocals on it. That
was an instrumental interlude. Same with Solve. And I guess Coagula was kind of instrumental, but it had, like, the chanting in it.
You've guessed 3 of them. I got 3 more.
Oh, what was it? Row Row.
The Fool and Solve.
What was... Oh, I'm trying to think of the ones that start. You Ain't Coming Back?
No.
Gravedigger's Chant.
Yes.
Okay. Built on Ashes.
No.
I don't know. What are the other two?
The Hermit and Ship on Fire.
Hermit's another instrumental, and then Ship on Fire. I came in the breath of the dead to bathing in my proper blood, baby bone and covered in red.
Now do the one about how you're radioactive.
I do not like Imagine Dragons.
No one does.
Yeah, right. But, I'm going to send this.
Wait, the look on Tori's face revealed a deep secret.
I don't know if it did.
Do you like Imagine Dragons?
I'm fine with them.
But you don't like... Nobody gets in their car and is like, you know what it's time for? Imagine Dragons. No disrespect to the Imagine Dragons. I'm sure you work very hard at what you do and you put a lot of work into it. And
thunder.
Who am I to
thunder.
Thunder.
Lightning and the thunder.
Oh.
Thunder. Yeah, the thunder.
I don't feel bad saying that, you know what, Imagine Dragons, you probably don't work that hard and you're not good at what you do because they'll never hear this. And if they do, well,
congrats,
I'm sure you're nice people.
Probably.
I
don't know if you guys watch the later seasons of the television show Girls.
I'm not even familiar with it.
You're not familiar with Girls, the Lena Dunham show?
I'm familiar with it. I am so torn about how to feel about Lena Dunham.
Oh, I go back and forth all the time.
Isn't she like a bad person, or is that part of
So
debatable?
Yeah, I think it was something about like touching her little brother.
Oh,
No, it's
in
her sister.
Her little sister.
In her memoir, she was like, "Yeah, that happened."
But also very funny.
At times.
Oh, okay. Well,
Not about that, but I'm a big fan of the show Girls, and I like her other stuff too.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I like furniture. I like girls.
I like Louis C.K.'s stand-up, but I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, he gets a pass."
Well, I was gonna say there's a character who's like a very douchey musician, and at one point somebody says, "You look as douchey as how you think. You look as douchey as you think Imagine Dragons are douchey."
Trying to think of anything else that I wanted to say about this.
I wish there had been more synths. I really liked any time there was synths, and I wish there had been more of it.
I can't remember what song it is off the top of my head, but there's one of them that I think it's the synth does like this super low, like every 4 measures it like woo.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that super loud in the car is just like rattles the windows, and it's like, oh, that's so sick. I mean, I don't know what else much to say about this. I'll send you guys the EP, which is way shorter, has more. I want to say I think it's mostly instrumentals. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 instrumentals on the 9-song EP. They're also a really good live show.
I could definitely see this being very interesting live.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if you guys caught the reference to Stranger Fruit.
No.
So, Strange Fruit is a Billie Holiday or a Nina Simone song.
I didn't know that.
Who is Billie Holiday? Right? Is that the same person?
I don't believe Nina Simone and Billie Holiday are the same person.
Why did I think that?
I don't know. Billie Holiday, I believe, is from Pittsburgh.
Anyway, the song "Strange Fruit" is like, what are the lyrics? Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves, blood on the root.
Oh,
Black bodies swing in the southern breeze, strange fruit hang from the poplar trees.
Once you said blood on the leaves, that's the song Kanye referenced.
Yeah.
We're bringing up some people today.
Yeah. Kanye, if you're out there, I'm all right with you. You seem fine. I mean,
am not.
Sorry.
Sorry?
You don't speak.
Sorry, let me go back. I'm
Luke
all right with your music.
does not speak for the podcast.
Let me go back. I'm all right with your music. The political stuff in the past, 3-4 years has gone absolutely batshit. But musically, I'm okay with Kanye.
Sure.
Including his Taylor Swift diss track?
No, that one was weird. And I don't know if
God, it's so weird that I have a podcast all by myself now. It's gonna be really hard to just talk about things that I don't know about.
Which one is the Taylor Swift diss track?
Well, it's the one where he used her recording with.
Oh no, that song.
Yeah. Well, did you see the thing that just came out that was basically like the original conversation was about she agreed about certain things in the song, but not what actually ended up in the song. So whenever they put the song out and she was like, I didn't agree to this, and they said, oh, we got a recording that says you were fine with it, she was agreeing to different stuff than what was in the final song.
I think we can all agree Kanye West died after he made, let's say, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is the official position of the podcast.
Kanye West has died and has been replaced by a strange doppelganger.
I was just going to not acknowledge anything beyond that.
You know who I do love? Donald Glover.
I'm okay with Donald Glover.
Just solid dude. I love Childish Gambino. Love him on Community. I just love him.
Rewatching Community.
I've not watched a lot of Community, but he's always very good on it. Anything that I've seen.
I'm watching it with my mom currently.
How does she feel about it?
I think she likes it.
My parents watched one episode and went, that was weird, and then never watched again.
I can't really watch anything with, like, my parents. Just I think just our tastes differ pretty wildly. And especially our sense of humor. Although we did watch, what was that Coen Brothers Western? The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Yeah. We watched that together.
I just know Earl Scruggs. Father of Bluegrass.
I bet that name is related.
Because of your bluegrass band, of course.
Yeah. I loved your bluegrass's color of a yellow card.
Yeah.
I hate you both so much.
Can you do that? Can you do that again?
I don't remember how the song goes, I gotta be honest.
There's a place on Ocean Avenue
where I used to sit and talk with you.
We were both 16 and it felt so right.
Or I was 16.
Sleeping all day, staying up all night.
If I could find you now, things would
be better. We could leave this town and run forever. Oh, this is
it's back to Goofy.
Sound like Goofy.
it's the whenever you breathe in before you say we, it's the hoi. Hoi.
Well, it's because I'm used to yodeling.
Holy shit, she yodels! Oh my god! Oh my god! She yodels! I had to take a quick laugh. Wait a minute. Tori, are you yodeling Walmart Kid?
I swear to God, I'll challenge him.
No, I don't think you need to challenge him. I think you are him. Like, slap on a hat and, like, some, like, a little,
It's a shame no one listens to this podcast. That was one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
I could teach you guys to yodel. You just find your breaking point.
Oh, all right. That's the podcast next week is yodeling.
I just teach you to yodel.
It was like you said, I'm so used to yodeling. And then it was like, only enough time for my brain to go, what? Before it happened.
Like, I was about to be like, oh my god, Tori, you have to yodel for us. But it was already happening.
You're welcome. Oh. You're welcome. I gifted this to you.
Oh, thank you. So, I think that was... And unless anyone had anything else to say about
Stranger Fruit. A very goofy movie?
No, I was going to say Stranger Fruit, but sure, if you have something else to say about Goofy
just
movie.
The Goofy movie. Well, After Today is still a bop, a banger, and a jam.
And the Tori knows every word, too.
Yes, that's true.
I did have to flex my lyrical prowess while we were all playing Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
I didn't have to, and I don't think anybody wanted me to, but I did. And I felt good about it. They've been laughing since I can remember, but they're not gonna laugh anymore.
Can you yodel this?
No.
All I want to hear from you is yodeling.
Everything that comes out of your mouth now, not just singing, but like talking, must be yodeling or I will not acknowledge it.
No! He's ignoring me.
I'm just laughing.
I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page for the album and seeing if there's anything that I wanted to mention.
No more Maxie the Geek. No more Goof of the Week like before. No more algebra tests till September. No more looking at losers like him. No more having to cheat. No more mystery meat. No more gym. No more gym. No more gym. No more gym. Gonna move to the mall. Gonna live at the pool. Gonna talk to Roxanne and not feel like a fool. 'Cause after today, I'm gonna be cruising. After today, she'll be mine.
I had a professor who worked on the Goofy TV show. And the story he told us about it was they apparently tried for like a whole season to work in... What's the kid's name?
Mac? Or not Max.
The Max is the bigger kid.
Like the dude with the cheese whiz?
No, like the
Like Goofy's kid?
Goofy's kid.
Maximus.
Yeah.
I thought Max was the bully.
Mm-mm.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Rex?
Well, they were trying to get Max to be on the debate team. They had a storyline where he was on the debate team solely so at one point he could say he was a master debater.
Hmm.
And that the censors just kept being like, no, like, why do you want this? And that's when I realized
Pete?
it is Pete.
Pete's the bully. Right. One of my animation professor worked at Disney. He was on Mulan and Lion King and Hercules.
Who put the gladiator?
He was the lead animator for Nala.
Hercules.
He's talking about how they like brought lions into the studio to have all the artists like sketch them and get the movement and stuff. Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Well, apparently, as we've all learned on lockdown, not terribly difficult. There's a lot of exotic cats here in the States.
That's true.
Yep.
More than there are in the wild.
Yeah. I saw an interesting hot take that was comparing Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin to Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, where Hillary Clinton and Carol Baskin both had a theory proposed that they had done some harm to some people that was propped up by a bunch of just like speculation and people saying things, and there's like a meth head mullet man ruining everything, and everyone's like, but he seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw this thing that was like, we've all gone against Carol Baskin, this woman who was in an abusive relationship, lost her husband, and is what XYZ, and are all on this meth head redneck hiring killer side, which is fair and valid. But I don't think either of them are good.
Yeah, I don't think I'm on either side. I would not say.
I do love that we have all picked up the movement of just like Carol Baskin killed her husband.
Yeah.
I almost said I do love that Carol Baskin killed her husband, which I don't love.
You know, I'm indifferent to even that.
Yeah.
I didn't know him.
He was definitely selling drugs. Flying frequently to a different country to pick things up and drop them off. And all of his businesses magically turned to gold. That's money laundering. That's how that works.
I don't think his money was that clean.
Oh.
Thank you. Amen.
I didn't even know that you were making a joke.
Yeah, I mean, like clean as in
him.
laundered, yeah, but that's also the phrase for money that has been rightfully earned. Is it's not
Either
dirty
money or clean money.
It's processing.
I was pretending that my computer froze. I keep doing this in class, too. I just go...
I wonder if you could set up a program for Zoom, like take a couple pictures of yourself and just like have it cycle through them so it looks like it's really laggy, but you're still there.
There's a video of, I think Benny talked about it, there's a video of a kid who set his Zoom background so that it's a video and it looks like he's walking in on himself.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how to do that. I tried to set mine as Dylan Sprouse with his arm around my chair looking oh so
Which
sexy.
Is interesting. Why pick the worst Sprouse brother?
It's interesting that either of you have an opinion on who is the better Sprouse brother.
Yeah, it's interesting that that's your opinion on who's the worst Sprouse brother.
I genuinely don't know what either of them have done, except someone said one of them did Riverdale, and they both did this.
One of them's Archie on Riverdale.
So we used to hate Cole Sprouse.
No, he's Jughead.
Yes, he is on Riverdale. There was this big thing on Tumblr for a while that his ex-girlfriend came out and was like he was emotionally manipulative and just like the worst and like emotionally abusive to her. And so nobody stood Cole Sprouse for a long time. And then he got hot. And now we don't know. I actually don't know. I think something came out that it wasn't exactly as that went and it was a bad breakup. And she just took to Tumblr. If the opportunity arose for me to sleep with Cole Sprouse, I would absolutely take it. This is a direct offer. If Cole Sprouse ever listens to this, hey baby, what's up? I can do a pretty good cartwheel if I stretch. I've got like $7.
Actually, I think one of our 5 listeners did have the username.
The real Cole Sprouse?
No, it was like Sweet Life something. So it's probably him.
That feels right.
We should just assume it's him.
Yeah.
I will happily. So Cole, get at me.
Look, it's either him or the other one.
Contact the podcast. Tori, if we ever somehow get contacted and it's like, hey, this is Cole Sprouse, give me Tori's number. I'm giving him mine.
No, you're not!
Yeah.
No, you're not!
You have no power here.
What will you do with that? What will you do with it? Will you pretend to be me?
No, I'm just going to be his bro. Just become best friends with him.
And what will you say to him in your first message?
What's up, dude?
No context? You're not going to say who it is? And then he's going to be like, who is this?
Like, oh, it's Luke from the podcast that you know and love, BLT on Rye. And I want to be your best friend.
And he's going to be like, okay, but what's Tori's number?
And I'll be like, you can get that. I'll give it to you in person. I don't trust these lines. So we got to meet up.
Meet me at laser tag.
Yeah, meet me at laser tag, and I will give you Tori's number.
My Instagram handle is toomuch_Tori. Cole Sprouse, DM me. Slide into those DMs.
Well, we're gonna be having too much fun at laser tag. He's not gonna.
He's not gonna have his, you can't have your phone at laser tag. Those are the rules.
Yeah.
I've actually never played laser tag.
What? It's all right.
It's fun.
Yeah.
After quarantine, can we play laser tag?
Sure, or paintball.
I've also never gone... No, that's not true. I went to a backwoods paintball because during school we could go paintballing in like 5th grade. We were all covered in welts. There was no protective gear.
Oh no.
They just gave us the gun and said, be free. And we were.
Whenever we were in elementary school, middle school, one of our friends had a paintball birthday party. And when you're done, you like empty out your gun. And the one dude was like shooting his hand with the CO2 and he's like, oh, this feels so weird. Check it out. Like, so everyone started doing it. And the one kid had a paintball left in the hopper that didn't go all the way down whenever you like fired the whole thing out. So he was like, oh, cool. I want to try. And just like shot his hand point blank and just had like this giant circle bruise. It was brutal.
My friend Chima, who is now in the Navy when we played paintball, ran up behind me, was like, what's going on? And just point blank, with the barrel pressed to my back, shot.
You're not supposed to do that.
He did not mean to.
Oh.
He just... And I want you
excited.
to know, he's out there protecting our seas.
Hopefully...
I don't know if I can say that.
Hopefully he picked up more trigger discipline.
Well,
on the
yeah,
job.
that was before they taught him what to do.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I've
that
been
was... What?
B. I said I've been B.
I've been L.
And I've been full of terrible ideas.
That's the T is for terrible. And that's it. Catch you next week.
Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe.
I
don't have a thing I say at the end.
Follow me
Why
on
not?
Instagram.
You could have something.
No,
Do
I
something
just-
right now. Quick.
I just want my thing to be, you say that, Tori says that, and then I say, I don't have a thing I say at the end.